Welcome to another episode of Dan's Stream of Thought. What week is this? Like 13, 12? 12? I think it's 12. Week 12. September is here. Those might call it September, and no, that's not a fetish thing. It's for subscriptions. You like these badges? We have royalty in chat today. You like these badges? There's from some convention started by a bunch of Destiny nerds. Some convention followed by a bunch of started by a bunch of Destiny nerds. Apparently it was like, I don't know, starting some sweaty bar one time, and then for some reason it just, I don't know, it became a thing? I guess it's the thing now? Funnily enough, we're talking about conventions today. The badges I'm holding up for all the audio listeners, I'm holding up 2 GuardianCon badges from the 2 years that I attended. And both years I did some work with them. And then we have some good stuff coming. It's called GuardianCon. Well, it's actually not called GuardianCon anymore. It's called a little thing called the Gaming Community Expo. GCX. You should go to it. You should go to it. It's in the middle of summer. So when you go to the convention, you can also hit up Disney World after or before, because it's also in Orlando, Florida, where you can go see Disney, so you can go see Mickey and all his friends, and a bunch of Star Wars stuff, and a bunch of Nemo stuff, and a bunch of just everything. Just go see everything. You can just go see absolutely everything, because not only is it a convention by streamers and community peoples and people that just love video games, but it's for them as well. It's for everything. I'm excited. I'm excited for next year. But what I'm excited for most immediately, it is actually GCX. Most immediately, it is still GCX. I'm not gonna lie. It is. However, I am extremely excited about a little thing called TwitchCon. I got my water because I had to choke down that thing. How do they pack? My question is, how do they pack 20 grams of protein in a little thing like smaller than the size of my palm? I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but they do it, and it tastes like sand. One of the things that I've been working on is my body. My body. And so I've been told by several sources that I need to eat more, because even though I'm packing on a lot of muscle, and even though I didn't start off with a whole lot of fat, I'm still losing weight, and I don't understand why. It just doesn't make sense. Where's it going? I don't know. What weight is what? I don't know. Who's picking it up? I don't know. I'm just losing it like I'm losing my sanity. It's just how it goes. But welcome to Danotage's, or Dan's Stream of Thought. A wonderful show that happens once a week, although we did miss 1 week. I was so on a roll. We did 11 weeks in a row, and I didn't miss a single gosh darn show. But welcome to week 12. I'm just gonna go with it. I haven't confirmed whether it's week 12 or not. I'm just gonna go with it. But it's a show based on this lovely thing right here. I'm holding up the book that myself and the absolutely wonderful, lovely Saber AP, Miss Kimberly, wrote alongside myself. It is called Twitch. I have to look at it every time because, again, I didn't write this title, and I would have written something probably a little bit different, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's called Twitch, Creating, Growing, and Monetizing Your Live Stream. It is a several 100-page book that apparently people like because it's sold out 3 times on Amazon. Granted, I think I was one of those. I think I bought like the last 10 copies or something. In fact, I bought the last 10 copies in the East Coast because we were taking some to Guardian Con. But yeah, it's sold out. It has been sold out on Amazon 3 times. They keep getting restocked, thankfully, which is awesome. And it's all about becoming a professional, or how other professionals take this industry. If you want to listen to how to stream, or kind of the tips on what's happening in the streaming world, hi Jaxie Chan, hello, on what's going on in the streaming world, and kind of what is the overall landscape. Basically, if you want to listen to the people that keep their ears to the ground and listen for Buffalo coming into town, and maybe it's how we track them to get our food and put food in our bellies, you're gonna listen to the wonderful Loco and Hunter over on Stream Scene, which happens every Monday. It happens at what, 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. Pacific time. It happens every Monday. I think it's 2. And they just did one on TwitchCon. Now, here's the difference. Here's what's gonna happen. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. There it is, every Monday. This show is not going to be like that show. Even though we're talking about the same topic. Even though we're talking about the same exact topic, we're going to talk about it from a slightly different perspective. There's a lot going on within a convention. I have been doing conventions since actually double the amount of time that I've been streaming or creating content on Twitch and YouTube. I've been in this industry for about 10 years, and I've been streaming for almost 5. So part of that industry was actually becoming a panel moderator at a few different conventions, actually. One of my favorite things to do, it was moderate panels for the lovely cast of Futurama and the cast of at that point, the last 3 Assassin's Creed games. It was pretty great. So I mean, I've been in this world for a very long time, and hopefully I've gleaned some knowledge and experience from that. I say hopefully because, I mean, like I'd say in every episode, I don't necessarily know what I'm doing. I just kind of do it, and people like say, hey, that's a good idea every now and then. So I don't know. It could be total, utter crapola, but I still talk about it, and I try to be as humble as possible because I don't want anybody doing something that I said they should do, especially when it's not right. Because I claim nothing. I claim knowledge nowhere, okay? I just claim to be doing this for a while. Now, there's a lot of people who do a lot of these things all the time, and they're some have been doing it for a very little time and are very good at it. Some have been doing it for decades and are very bad at it. So it happens. So take everything I say with the slightest grain of salt, but also, if it works out for you, like, please tell me about it so that I can at least feel like I'm doing something useful. Again, today is we're going to talk about conventions in general. Let's just talk about conventions, but we'll talk specifically about TwitchCon as well. If you want any like tips and tricks and like what goes on at conventions, stuff like that, please like go watch. I believe they're on YouTube as well, or in the Twitch VODs. The stream scene from yesterday, September 2nd, 2019. That is with, I believe, DM Brandon and who was the other guest? Why can't I remember? I know exactly. I love these people. I know them people. Avalon Star, Brian, I knew that. Avalon Star and DM Brandon, who are 2 of probably the greatest people to talk about live events and conventions, and happen to be 2 very, very awesome people. So go listen to that episode, talk about the tips and tricks on being at a convention as a streamer. I'm going to talk about this from a perspective of just the industry in general, and being a professional in exactly what is going on behind the scenes, but also in preparation, not just by, obviously print a bunch of business cards. There's a very good tweet from Seriously Clara about printing more business cards than you think you're going to need. Make sure that everything is available as far as information goes when going to a convention. Obviously, those are things that you should be doing, but not just because they're easy for people, but because they are professional. right? That is the professionalism behind what goes into taking things to being prepared for a convention. TwitchCon specifically, I think a lot of people have kind of learned this and have experienced that it is different from being a professional or even just the convention as a whole than any other convention out there, right? If you look at a convention like GCX, they kind of have this, they have the old school vibe of what TwitchCon used to be, which is why I work so closely with them, because I like that vibe. The TwitchCon vibe has changed a little bit more in the realm of going more towards maybe a PAX or a Gamescom or an E3, but at the same time, they're still keeping a lot of the same stuff as well. So it's kind of a hybrid, right? You have PAX, you have, so let's say all the PAXs, East, West, South, Unplugged, and do they have another one? I don't know if they have another one. But you got those four PAXs. Some of them are staying around, some of them are getting bigger, some of them are getting extremely smaller and might go away. But the biggest thing is those are for video games. You're going to go there and you're going to learn about video games. As a professional, you're going to probably take meetings with people. You're probably going to check out things and say, hey, what is going on here? What are people talking about? And like, I mean, personally, as much as I don't like standing in line, I'll go stand next to a line and just it makes, like, obviously I'm going to use a little bit of privilege to probably go and play the game and not stand in the line to wait for that. But sometimes I'll just stand in a line and I'll just listen to people, listen to what they're saying. What are they talking about? As a professional in the industry, I know what to talk about on Twitter, what people are interested in, meaning like, and obviously you don't make it fake or anything, but hey, this is a concern. Okay, now that I've played the game, how do I alleviate that concern, or how do I confirm that concern? Obviously, while staying under your NDA, while not bad-mouthing things when they don't need to be bad-mouthed. In fact, nothing ever needs to be bad-mouthed, really, ever. I don't know why gaming culture has kind of gone into a whole, I know everything about this, and you people that are making the video game know nothing. I don't know where that came from. I have no idea. I believe there's a tweet that Bikeman put out recently that kind of illustrates that. There's a lot of strange criticism going on. Obviously, criticism is always good, and as a professional, you should be constantly critical. But there is a difference between being critical and being negative. So, when you hear these thoughts in a line and what's happening, and they're talking about things and what they're excited for and what they're listening to and what it is that they want to check out, like, hey, I heard this game has local co-op, or I hear it has online multiplayer, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's the question we want to ask. Well, maybe that's the question that I figure out and try to help that along. That way, anybody that wasn't at that convention or didn't have the time to go check out that game, I can use that knowledge to possibly help that information go out. You know what I mean? So no matter what's happening, diligence is the most important thing. It always is. I know. Trust me, as an introverted person, it is exhausting to stay diligent in all the information that is happening. It is exhausting to do all the things you need to do on a convention floor, whilst also seeing your other colleagues and friends and fans sometimes. I mean, every now and then somebody at PAX has seen my stream, but that's going to get a little, I'm talking about that a little bit more as we get into TwitchCon, because that does tremendously change as we get into TwitchCon. But a lot of those things that you hear and you figure out it's very exhausting, and there's a lot of things happening, but at the same time, that's part of the job. And you can choose to or not to do any of that, really. That's absolutely nothing that happens to, oh, there actually might be a desync. But absolutely nothing that's happening is irrelevant, in my opinion, except for maybe some drama and stuff that happens on, like, between streamers sometimes, because when it comes to streamer stuff, by the way, thank you, Chef, I appreciate that. That should fix it, I have no idea. But when it comes to streamer stuff, you really, like, it doesn't matter. It really, like, it doesn't matter that much. It comes down to the types of things in the industry and the types of things that are happening between each other, and it just, like, millions and millions of things, there's just so much that may or may not be happening that you need to really pay attention to. So let's talk about the stuff that's actually in the industry. Yeah, my camera seems to to desync every now and then when it gets hot, because it's really hot in here. But yeah, there's all these things that happen and whatnot. By the way, Wes, can you do me a favor? Can you open up questions now? We're probably gonna take a bunch of questions because conventions seem to be extremely daunting for people, and I want to be able to be that person that's like, hey, it's okay, because that's pretty much what it comes down to. I've seen several people talk about it on Twitter, and it's like, hey, TwitchCon 2019 is gonna be my first convention. I'm so excited to see you guys, and I'm like, the first thing comes to my mind is, oh, they're gonna be overwhelmed. Granted, that is an assumption, and we probably shouldn't make assumptions all the time, but first thing comes to my mind is like, oh, let's cool it. Let's pump the brakes, because I know a lot of people out there will attempt to push pressure onto people easily. Hey, you got to sign up for this party. You got to get into this party. You got to make sure that you remember about a meetup that was happening. Do you want to set up a meetup? Do you want to have a million meetings with all these different developers and publishers? Do you want to, hey, have dinner with me? Hey, I'm going to TwitchCon too. Let's set something up. All that stuff. Like, it happens so crazily that I was like, okay, no matter what happens, my first response to that was, I'm excited for you to see San Diego, because I do live here and I happen to know the town pretty well now-ish. I've only been here for 3.5 years, but I'm excited for you to come. I'm excited for you to go to a convention. I'm excited for you to go to TwitchCon because it's a community-centric convention. But also, let's pump the brakes, right? Let's pump it a little bit. That way, nobody floods you with a bunch of stuff. Hey, so my first thing is, hey, if you have any concerns about what's happening, please message me. I want to be able to ease your stress, because as gamers, as streamers, we juggle so much. As community managers, as publishers of any type of video game, we juggle so much, especially when it comes to conventions, that no matter what's happening, we have to find a way to organize it. Now, when it comes to actually organizing, that is up to whatever works best for you. And I believe, well, actually, Hunter and I were just talking about this like minutes ago. I can't do really that many apps for organizing and keeping things in line. I have to physically write things down. I actually have this right here. I have this notebook, this dot journal right here, and I do keep a digital calendar, but that's literally just a digital calendar. I keep this right here, and I write everything down, dude. I make sure that we have like all the things we need to do and what needs to happen when. Is this a party that I signed up for? Where's it at? What time do I need to be there? What time does it end? And then I can visually see like all the things that are there and when I need to do what. That's just for me though. If you're somebody that has an assistant, or maybe you're somebody that has somebody schedule stuff for you, make sure that they have your information that you need for all that. So that, you know, it happens, right? So that you are able to handle it. Because conventions, I'll tell you right now, I schedule a lot of stuff for events, and I make sure that I have a lot of things on my plate for an event so that I'm always busy, so that I feel like I'm not wasting time. When it comes to big conventions, like PAX or TwitchCon, I schedule nothing. I let them come to me, or don't, or nothing comes to me, but that's fine too. But I let them come to me, because if they come to me and they set it first, I'm able to figure out where that fits in my schedule and plug it in like a puzzle piece. If I start putting out a bunch of feelers, I may not know where that's going to come back on. I possibly will double up on feelers to like see if one fails or whatnot. But also, when it comes to a lot of these conventions, especially TwitchCon, in fact, there's a question in the queue right now that touches on this very nicely. TwitchCon is going to be about spending time and being face-to-face with the people that you want to be face-to-face with. Now, you wanting has different definitions, right? Whether it's just friends and you need to catch up with them because you love them and you want to be around them. That's something I love doing. Or maybe it's somebody that is another professional that you want to have a more professional relationship with, and you want to spend time with them and actually get to know them and have them get to know you at the same time. That is a very legitimate way. That is actual networking, by the way, is spending time and getting to know each other, so that, I mean, it's kind of like dating, honestly. a lot of professional relationships it's kind of like dating, except for, you know, without the, because especially with the recent light, without the, you know, the sexy stuff. Don't just don't even think about that as a possibility. We live in a gray area in the gaming industry. It's kind of weird sometimes, where a lot of people are colleagues, and we don't necessarily work in the same company as them, so there's no HR involved, human resources involved. So there's a little bit of overlap, but even then, sometimes it gets muddy. But even outside of that, the same rules apply to any other situation in the entire planet. Don't harass anybody. Don't abuse anybody. Don't be a creep. That's part of being, believe it or not, now in this industry, it's part of being a professional. There's so much crap that's been happening lately that I have no idea what is going through people's heads. Like, I don't know what's going on. Just understand that you're both humans, you're both professionals. Let's take it down a notch. Let's calm down, okay? Everybody calm down. That's it. That's it. Okay? I'm actually going to get to this question here. What is it? Is it next? I always forget. Mods, help me. Pick? Okay. Oh, is it questions? There it is. Next question in the queue comes from the Hunter Wild. Who's that? Who's that? Oh, wait, it's the greatest person on the planet Earth. Also, co-owner of Streamer Square. I love this man. I love Hunter. And I haven't even read the question fully yet, but I know it's going to be a fantastic question. I love this. Okay. Comes from the Hunter Wild. How much is too much in a schedule when I schedule downtime? So, with the thought of scheduling downtime, how much is too much in the schedule? Well, it depends on what kind of person you are, obviously. I know for a fact that Hunter has to have everything pretty much scheduled. I don't know. I actually don't think he's like this, but I've known a lot of people that are, and actually including myself. We have to schedule sleep, you know? We have to schedule what time we're gonna say, hey, it's quitting time. Hey, it may not be last call, but I've got something early. I need to go to my hotel room now, or tomorrow's going to suck. And you need to schedule that if that's the case. I'm probably going to have to schedule that because I often stay out way too late. Especially when I have stuff to do the next morning. I've never missed anything for that reason, but I've not necessarily been at my 100%. And it's not because, like, I'm hungover or anything. It's because I'm tired, you know? But so that sleep is important, and scheduling that sleep is important. But if you are drinking, first of all, watch your drinks. Drink responsibly. And I very much say watch your drinks because people are weird. Again, back to the whole unprofessional. There are a lot of unprofessionals out there. So that's kind of where this whole show came from. On the bare level is the whole reason the book came about is not because I thought that I had knowledge that I think people would be better for, but kind of that because some people are just creeps and extremely unprofessional, almost seemingly purposefully. So I decided let's put something together so that hopefully, so that people don't have an excuse anymore to be that way, right? I didn't know. This is new to me. Yeah, but there's reasons that there's first of all there's human decency, but second of all there's actual now resources out there that you could have looked at and you chose not to, so you made a choice. So, how much is too much in the schedule when I schedule downtime? I think you can go wild with that, quite honestly. If you schedule downtime, in fact, if you make sure that you're scheduling downtime, you're probably making the right call. And that's important to tell yourself. If you're scheduling, hey, I'm going to be available 100%, meaning I'm not going to take any meeting from this hour to this hour on this day. If that means I'm going to go hang out in my hotel room, that means I'm going to go hang out in my hotel room and decompress. If that means I'm going to be, if you're doing what I'm doing, I'm going to sit at a bar somewhere or a restaurant and be like, hey, if you guys want to go decompress and just hang out, I'm going to this location at this time on this day. Just come hang out with me. Like, just do it. That is my scheduled downtime. I am purposely doing that this year. because that's extremely important. Now, I have a bunch of blocks right now. We're still about a month out. I got a bunch of blocks that are open, meaning I haven't scheduled downtime for them, but I also haven't scheduled anything else. That's kind of like, that's like, right now it's pretty much a free play, right? I could do whatever I want, but I didn't schedule that free play. Now, that's just because I like being open. That has nothing to do with if I schedule something there, it's too much scheduling. I think if you need that schedule, you should just go freaking wild. Go wild with it. Schedule every minute of every day. Obviously, if that stresses you out to not follow through with it, maybe that's something you got to talk to yourself about. And sometimes I mean outwardly talking to yourself about. Like actually tell yourself, hey, this is too much. I mean out loud with your words. Like do it with your words. Like say, hey, Danotage, this is too much. Say it. Because you don't say it, sometimes you don't believe it, even if it's in your head, because people don't believe their own thoughts sometimes, and trust me, I've been there. So, say it out loud to yourself, this is too much. If I'm scheduling every minute of every day, it's a 4-day event, people are probably gone and there for 6 days, the day before and the day after. If you're gonna schedule every minute, if that's what you need to do, please, like, do it. I think it's a great idea. If that's not what you're like, then don't worry about it. But, here's the thing. If you're going to make a schedule, it's probably the best idea to stick to it. Especially if you are scheduling downtime. Especially if you're scheduling something that is professional, like a meeting with somebody. I'm going to be meeting with other streamers. Why? Because I want to talk to them about what's going on between us. What's happening in the whole scheme of streaming, right? I want to be able to, I'm obviously, it's not a therapist, because I'm not a therapist, nor do I want it to be, nor is that, but it could be therapeutic to just sit there and just talk to somebody about what's going on with your career and your stream. Like, if you want to just talk about that, like, I'm not saying I'm going to be able to give you advice on something. Trust me, I'm not the person to be giving advice. But if you want to do that, like, I will schedule something with you and we'll just stick to that. But it's important to stick to those ideas and stick to those plans. So, sticking to that schedule, no matter how big or how small your schedule is extremely important, right? If you have a meeting with a developer or a publisher and you blow them off, I tell you from first experience, I didn't blow them off on purpose, but they never talked to me again, okay? I didn't mean to, I just forgot, I had it scheduled and I just missed it because I was talking to somebody or something happened, I don't know. I missed it, I never heard from them ever again. In fact, I've seen them at many conventions since then, and I always feel awkward because I messed up. And I've confessed to them, and they've very much said that everything's okay, but I still feel bad about it because I made an unprofessional move. I didn't want that, but it happened. But yeah, that's just, if you're going to make a schedule, and I think you should, as much as you want to, right? Because it matters on so many different levels. As much as you want to, stick to it. Do it. That's extremely, extremely important. Stick to your schedule no matter how much you make it. Now, to really answer the question at the bottom, how much is too much? I personally, it's only too much if you're not scheduling downtime, you know? If you're not scheduling hanging out with people, if you're not scheduling, like, if you are an introvert like myself and you need to just escape somewhere and just be alone for a little bit, or for me, I'll just be with my girlfriend for I don't know, probably a couple hours. She might not want to be out there for as long as I am, so I'll take her home and maybe we'll just hang out at home for like an hour. That's very much going to be in my schedule, and you know, that's something you want to communicate with your partner or whoever you're going with. Maybe you're rooming with somebody that you're very close to. Schedule some time to just go back and chill together, or schedule some time. Hey, I'm going to be going back to the room about this time. I'd really appreciate it if, like, maybe you were out of the room just for like an hour or two, so I can just be alone and just get everything, just let all the noise and people talking get out of my head for a little bit, so that I can go back out there with a ton of energy and great. Because, like, no matter how close you are to somebody, I mean, my girlfriend's my best friend, right? Like, she knows everything about me, I know everything about her, but I have to be away from her. Especially at conventions, because there's so much going on, there's just, you know, sensory overload that you just need to be alone. So schedule that. Schedule, hey, so I'm every day at 2 p.m., 2 to 3 p.m., I'm going to go back. I may try to take a nap. I may just sit there and look at the wall. I may even watch TV for an hour. But I would appreciate it if maybe you were just doing whatever, it doesn't matter, just out of the room for that hour. I'm just gonna decompress, whatever. Maybe you want to go back and write emails or write notes on a laptop because you met with a bunch of people and don't want to forget those things. And maybe you want to go back and actually write all those things down. Maybe you have maybe it's not a short-term memory, but a long enough term memory to where you can go back and write a bunch of things after a meeting so that you don't forget them a week from now, right? You know, so make sure that happens, right? But too much scheduling, I don't think is a problem unless you have a problem with possibly missing those things due to unforeseen events. So too much, I don't necessarily think it's there or possible, but it depends on who you are too. Okay, let's do this. Notes on business cards. Notes on business cards are great. They're great for that. I need to quickly jot down a note, but scheduling that time to make sure that although maybe you have a bunch of business cards and you're like, or a bunch of note cards or whatever, and you're like, I don't know how to organize these. I'm gonna forget this in the next week when I go home. So maybe I go back and I make sure I organize them, or make sure I put them in a digital format so that if I lose this card, I don't miss that. I've lost business cards a ton. In fact, I've gone through stacks and stacks and stacks of business cards looking for one contact I know is from this sounding company. It's a small studio. They made over something over. I can't remember exactly what it is, and I can't find the card. Legitimately, if you make a note digitally that you can find at any location, it helps you tremendously. Also, a big thing is try to remember their name. I'm not talking about like the game name or the company name or any of that. Try to remember your contact's name, whoever that might be. You know, even if it's just their first name, try to remember your contact's name. Or maybe it's their online name. Maybe if you're talking to Clara, you're like, oh, I need to remember seriously Clara. Now, it helps that her name's in the thing so that you can remember her name and her handle like easily. It's like, hey, I need to remember seriously Clara. So that is the most important thing, because no matter what, if you forget everything else, I guarantee if you're like me, you can go to that person's Twitter account or Twitch account or email or whatever it is, and you will find something that will jog your memory. So remembering that name is extremely, extremely important. By the way, hi Wes, hi Kuma, hi Pretty Random Network, how are you? What's up, Chef? Hi guys, welcome on in. We're just talking about TwitchCon. We're talking about getting ready for the con professionally, as professionals, and less about just going as a person or a body or a streamer or a whatever, but we're going and talking about professionalism within that part of it. No. What's up, Serious Yo? How you doing, man? I'm gonna find you once for a beer, dude. Please, whatever you want to talk about, just like make sure you hit me up beforehand or whatever. If you're scheduling downtime, you're already a step ahead of the game, right? I mean, there are some people that don't need to schedule that. If you're like me, I don't schedule downtime. I don't normally. I'm doing it this year, but I don't normally because I just do it whenever I get, like, whenever there's a free spot. It's like, okay, I've got all my schedule down. All right, I've got nobody to talk to. Let's go to a bar and just hang out, right? That's as it comes, right? But if I schedule that, then I force myself to go do that. That's why I'm doing it this year, because when I don't schedule it, there's always the chance where I just forget that time is going by. So scheduling downtime, not only for relaxing and decompressing, but for eating, for drinking water, for caffeinating, for any of that stuff. Making sure you're doing that and scheduling that is often important. If you don't need to do that, then don't worry about it. But if that's something that you often forget, I guarantee most people forget to eat at conventions. At least one meal, maybe two, maybe three. I've gone full days without having a single bite to eat. And it's not because I'm not hungry. I think my body knows I'm hungry, but my brain says, oh, I've got all these things to do, so I'm gonna go do those things. So schedule that, and that's just kind of how it goes. Okay, so Evernote is your best friend for keeping track of business cards. So Evernote, what do you take pictures of them and store them in there? That's a good idea. Sometimes you can just take a picture, but yeah, Evernote, you can find them other places too. That's a good idea. Because Evernote like is like Google's Drive, right? You can just whatever you whatever you can access Evernote on, you can just find all the stuff you put up there. No. Okay, so can people just get QR codes tatted on them instead of business cards? They can. They can. They can. It's one of those things. You can do this, but should you? Right? If you have a question, just type !ask space your question. Majority of my first and only TwitchCon experience was just talking to people, and it felt worth it. By the way, not brown nose. I wish to talk to you more. No, of course. Like I hope we get to chat, Kumatori. We get to chat. You take a picture with Evernote and automatically convert it to a contact. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. I did not know that. That's cool. That's real cool. Not sponsored by Evernote? No, I mean, you don't have to be sponsored to use a quality product. I've used Evernote back when it was just notes, but I haven't used it since then. So apparently they've updated, and I will have to re-download that. That sounds great. Sounds awesome. Let's go to another question. Also by the Hunter Wild. And how the hell do I account for lines in the morning? There are some things I shouldn't say, so I probably won't say them. Because I tend to weasel my way through things and like say, hey, do you think I can grab my badge or something along those lines? And just I don't know. Somebody does something for me. Sometimes I don't even ask, and it just happens. I'm not gonna talk about those things. I hope that this year is a lot better. I believe that it has been good the last time it was in San Diego, because the last two conventions, last two TwitchCons have been in very small locations, and the lines have been stupid crazy long. The first thing I do when I get to town is I go get my badge. It's the first thing I do. Especially if, and I try to get there before they close, like via scheduling my flights or whatever. Thankfully I live here, so I'll just go whenever they open, but you know, sometimes that doesn't happen, or most people that doesn't happen for, so I try to schedule me to get there around the time that they're still open the day before the convention, right? Or whenever they're earliest open, whenever that's when they happen. Beating the line comes down to a lot of luck, unfortunately. You want to not lollygag. Now, if you have some, because let's be honest, day 0, the day before the convention, usually nothing's really happening. That's kind of when everybody gets there and they're mingling and they're doing that. You want to do that anyway because you don't ever want to miss or be late to a meeting that you have early the first day because you gotta wait for your badge, right? You gotta wait in line for something. That is always a rookie move. It's a rookie move. And it's not, I'm not saying rookie is bad, I'm just saying you did that because you didn't know, and I'm telling you right now, I'm turning you out, I'm changing you from a rookie to a veteran right now, even if you've never been before. Just listen to this. Go as soon as you can. Okay? As soon as you can. If you have to get up extra early because you got in late the next day, well, next time probably try to schedule a little bit earlier, but also get up early. Do that. However, if you're somebody who is fine with getting there late because, well, you don't want to deal with the huge crowd, then do it extra late. That's fine too. If everybody has their badge, they don't need to stand in line anymore, right? Granted, sometimes they merge the lines together to where the people checking bags are the same people that are giving badges out. I don't know. That happens sometimes. But hopefully this year it will be better, and you want to get there when you can and as early as you can. Because once you have your badge, you never have to do that again, right? So be there as early as you can. Make sure you research. What I mean by research is go to the front of the line, see which line you're supposed to be in, ask around if you need to. Hey, which line is the line I'm supposed to be in? okay, thank you. They might respond rudely, but just understand they're under a lot of pressure. Just go with whatever they say and stand in that line. It's tough. It's real tough. But it happens, and that's just... It happens, all right? It happens. Trust me, I've been to enough conventions where that almost never gets better. The only time it gets better is when you get mailed your pass. I think PAX does that. And Comic-Con does that. I don't know why TwitchCon doesn't do that. Probably because it costs them money. But I mean, if it costs them like $5 per badge, just put that back on the... I don't know. Honestly, if you charged me $10 to have my badge shipped to me and mailed to me, I would pay that $10. I know it's hard. I know it's cost money. I know it's not something, but I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's like the you know, that's like a couple mil solution. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it costs tons of money. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, it's not easy, of course. But then if you're going to, you know, if you can't afford that as a convention, I mean, you want to organize as best as possible, right? I mean, Alex is the one talking about this. You know, you've done it, and it works fine. The way you've done it before it works fine. But a lot of these, the biggest part of TwitchCon last year was that it was like 6 lines, but they were all merged together without dividers, so it looked like a mob of people. Not to mention that there was a lot of people just saying hi to each other, me included. I may have been part of the problem. Which then muddied up the whole organization as well. So there's just... It's a big mess. I don't think anybody has come up with a full solution for it. I'm not even saying I have the solution. I'm just saying nobody has really come up with a real solution for it. It's very difficult to even get it organized. Probably takes a lot of bodies, which not everybody has. You know, most are volunteers. Sometimes they just don't... They don't have enough budget to pay 1 million people to go be out there and organizing. That's something too. You just gotta get there when you can. Do the very, very best you possibly can to get there as soon as possible and just get it over with. Don't wait. That's the biggest part. Don't wait, because you don't want to be late to a meeting the next day. Or you don't want to be late to an event or whatever it is the next day. You know? No matter what. No matter what's going on, get there as early as possible. Just do it. There's too many people in small place. Yeah, that's what yeah, exactly. Exactly. The next question in the queue comes from Wes. Hello, Wes. First TwitchCon. Is a re-entry a pain in the ass? If I go to lunch and want to come back for a panel or event, do I schedule time for re-entry? Again, that's gonna come down to the venue. Last year, for the first day, you probably need to shave off like 30 minutes. 30 to 40 minutes. Second or third day, not as bad, but you still had to wait in line for a little bit. It's in your best interest to schedule time for that, or at least get there. If the panel is happening at 3, get there at 2:30, 2:15. Because even then, if you get in early and you get in like 45 minutes early, there's probably stuff to do while you're waiting. But also, there's usually a line to get into the panel, right? And if it's a very, very popular panel, they may not let everybody in. Granted, that's a lot more rare, and the line is literally just because people are waiting and they want to keep it organized. So it's not really that big of a deal. But yeah, it's in your best interest, not only for your time, but because security has to be extremely strict. Because if they're not, especially with the climate and what's happening today with big crowds, if security has to check every little crevice in your bag or pat you down, and that's what has to happen. I mean, I don't like to say that, but right now with amount of things that are happening, it may be called for, you know? It may be called for there. So I just, yeah, take the time. You'll notice, you'll kind of see that if you are, let's say you're walking out to go to lunch or something like that, you'll see the line. And if that line's super long, you may want to keep that in mind. That line isn't going to go up and down rapidly, right? It'll go down slowly, or it may even get bigger, but you'll be able to get an idea of of what's going on if you just take a look at the line as you walk out. San Diego Convention Center is a big convention center. There's gonna be a lot of room for people to be, so hopefully that alleviates the process. It's a very, very large venue. Now, are they taking the whole venue? I don't actually know that yet. So that's something that we'll find out later, hopefully. The first year they were here, they only had half of it because it was not a huge convention. So we'll see what the size is this year. Hopefully it's better. San Diego is very much a convention city. Like we know what we're doing when it comes to conventions. We have the space, the food, the personnel, like the people that know conventions. So you're gonna be dealing with hopefully with professionals. So that's a big thing too. Treat them as such, right? No matter what, treat them as such. Your outwards appearance will always be how people see you, especially at a convention where it's about what you do, right? This is a big thing when it comes to professionalism, is people do stupid stuff because they're not paying attention to who's watching them, because they're not paying attention to where they are. It's huge, huge, huge. Now, if you're somebody who's gonna do stupid stuff anyway, I mean, that's just what's gonna happen. But like, say you're joking around and say you're, just being a goofball, and, maybe you're just being mean to your friends, but because they're your friends, they're okay with it, and that's just kind of how it goes. Maybe you're not actually being mean, but you're joking around. You never know who's gonna be listening, right? There could be somebody who is going, like, makes your favorite game, and they notice that, and they're like, oh, I remember this guy being a total butthole. Granted, they may understand what's happening, but it's important to keep that in mind when you're out and about and with the people that are part of your industry. I'm pretty sure I didn't catch this part. I'm pretty sure they talked about IRL streaming at TwitchCon yesterday. That's exactly what I'm talking. That's not exactly what I'm talking about. That's part of what I'm talking about. Just be careful. Be careful. I'm not going to get into IRL streaming right now. That's not the topic for today. But just be careful. That's it. Just be careful in what you're doing. Make sure that you know what's in your shot. Make sure you know what's happening, and yeah. But remember that it's important to stay aware of what's happening. And back to like the whole going out for lunch and stuff like that. Unless it's a panel, unless it's something you really need to be back for in a schedule, don't stress yourself out on it, right? It's a 3-day convention. There'll be plenty of time to see stuff. So unless it's something scheduled, don't stress out about it. Spend some time outside with the whole city and stuff like that's happening. It's a great city. It's a great city just to walk around. Just walk around downtown for a little bit. It's really it's a beautiful place. Go walk along the pier. Figure out what's going on near the parks. Go check out Balboa Park if you need to. Just go. If it's too busy, just go do something else. Like, honestly, it's gonna be okay. But obviously, yeah, this is about schedules and stuff like that. So if you need to come back for a panel, yeah, do so. Schedule appropriately. I didn't need to feel like if I ever wait in the line for re-entry. At every TwitchCon, I as like partners with special access have had to wait in some sort of line. It happens a lot. But it depends on what's going on too, and it depends on how many personnel they decide to hire too, because that is a big thing. Like, no matter how many entryways there has to be somebody in charge of that entryway, which is important. Don't stuff your backpack and try to go in. I brought a notebook and a small tote bag, no extra pockets. Yeah, I mean, pack lightly, yeah, if you're gonna be, unless you need to take something in, ask yourself if you really need it. Ask yourself if you really need that. Because, yeah, the more people bring in fact, there's actually, I think, a rule on how big your thing could be, but the more you bring in, the longer it's gonna take. But, I mean, that's kind of negligent, or not negligent. That's kind of it's not that important. I wouldn't, you're gonna use your common sense there. Okay, do we have more things? Okay. From Chef, next question in the queue from Chef Hazmat. Do you think it would be good for people to go to a smaller con before they tackle something like TwitchCon or PAX. Yes and no. Because on one hand, yeah, if you've never been to a convention, it might be nice to, you know, maybe subject yourself to something a little bit less stressful and less people. Again, that depends on who you are, though, and what you're okay with. Like, you might have never been to a convention, but you're not really bothered by crowds or anything. I personally, I'm not too bothered by crowds. I'm more what takes my energy is being able to sit down and talk to people for long periods of time, because I'm just like, I always want to be, you know, courteous and doing everything I can to make sure that they feel welcome and all that stuff. So I spend a lot of energy in a conversation, right? It sucks a lot out of me, but that's because I enjoy talking to those people too. So that depends on the person, but at the same time, it's also gonna be quite different too. Because you can go to a smaller convention, but it just might be better. Like if you went to GCX, which is smaller than TwitchCon, you might think, oh, this is a good stepping stone to TwitchCon. But, I mean, remember, GCX is just run well, right? Or GuardianCon is what you've probably been to if you've ever been to that. It's just run well, right? I've gone to small conventions that are run terribly, and it feels way more stressful than PAX, you know? So, is it necessary to level yourself up, per se? No, not necessarily. Can it help you if you may need to get used to what it feels like to be in a crowd of any sort? Yeah, I mean, that would help. That would help. But if you've ever been to a fair or a big event of any sort, you can generally focus that energy into something. Granted, there's a lot of people that haven't done any of that, so maybe you do want to go to something like that. But back to what I wanted to bring up in the beginning was TwitchCon it's nothing like PAX. It's becoming a little bit more like that every year, but in the general scheme of what it is, it's not really PAX, because not everybody's going in there to see video games, right? Everybody's going in there for their own reasons, right? Everybody's gonna have a different reason to be there. Everybody. Hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm gonna head over to the Catalyst team meetup. Somebody might be like, I don't even know who that is. Maybe, I don't know. Everybody knows who that is. Maybe not even know who that is. And then they're going to over here to something else. They're going to over here to something else. The TwitchCon it's about all the creators on Twitch, which could mean so many different things. So people are going to be spread out everywhere. Maybe you want to actually get to know these people. Maybe you want to necessarily see all these things, and you know, there may be a bunch of people waiting in line for something, but hopefully the idea of what TwitchCon is hopefully it'll be spread out and you won't have to worry too much about that. Yeah. Does that make sense? Am I making sense here? Please, ask space your question. Ask any question you guys got. I want to make sure we're in the right line for something. That's not a pun, by the way. Hello, Carly. How are you? I feel like just going with the right group of friends helps any anxiety with large con. Yeah, people you feel safe around. That should be always, no matter where you go, whether it's for a convention or a business trip or a vacation or anything. You should probably always go with somebody you're comfortable with, even if it's just one person. If you want to go with a group, great, but one person that you're comfortable with and spending time with them. Maybe you need to split off every now and then, but spending time with them and being able to reconnect, extremely important, extremely helpful. This is why so many people love going to TwitchCon, especially creators, because we know we're going there with people we know and trust, right? And it's also why it's so hurtful when we find out that another creator that is in our industry something happens with them and whatever. It's like we feel very much betrayed because we trust them, and that's the whole reason we do these things. Is it's a big trust thing, and no matter what, yeah, having your trust group and having the people that you do trust is extremely important. Extremely important. So yeah, please do that. Carly, what? I live under the philosophy of dive on in, go from there. Not everything in life has stepping stones. Sure, but if you have the option to have stepping stones, why not take them, right? Well, and then again, it goes back to the original, which is saying that it depends on who you are. So knowing who you are is more important than anything. And when it comes to anything, really, when it comes to a convention, it's important to know what you're good with, what you're comfortable with, and what you're not comfortable with. You know, it really depends on you. And if you decide that something's not comfortable for you, think about it first. If you're looking to go out of your comfort zone, make sure it's safe, right? Make sure it's something safe. If I'm going to go talk to a developer or a publisher of a game that I really enjoy, make sure that I'm not inebriated. Make sure that I'm not hungover if I really want to make a good impression. Make sure that, make sure it's safe for you. Make sure it's something that is going to work for you. Going back to the professional side there. So make sure that something in that realm is going to work for you. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I went to TwitchCon Long Beach by myself, not knowing anyone. I just went to panels and went to meetups and ended up making a ton of friends. Yeah, that's a possible thing too. If that's what you really want to do, I personally don't recommend it. Because I do recommend going with somebody, but if you're your own person, you get to make your own decisions. Totally. Comes from Coronados. Are you going to go to any other cons around Tampa Bay, Orlando, Kissimmee area? I will be going to GCX in June. It is in Orlando, Florida. Cons is super fun. It's super fun. It's just unsafe. That's the only... In safety, as you will see if you've read the book, safety is the most important thing. If you want to go there, I am never going to stop you. Ever. I'm never going to tell you what to do. I'm not your dad. I'm just talking about being safe. Be safe. No matter what. Be safe. Sometimes I turn my phone off and gamble. Oh, God. It's like wrangling cats. Chad, why are you like this? Chad, why are you like this? I mean, no, honestly, like, if I travel alone all the time. I personally have never gotten into a bad situation, so I can't say, like, oh, this is what's happened to me, and you shouldn't do it because of this. Even if I did that, that would be my own experience, and it means nothing about your experience. Do I wish I went with people, though? Yes. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. If you're very okay with being alone and doing your own stuff, then please. I'm never gonna stop you. Ever. Be safe. I feel like I have to legally say, just be safe. So I'm gonna keep saying it. Just be safe. That's it. Hi, Sagire. Going to, I don't need no man. No. You don't need anybody. Need anybody. What else? Okay, so to talk about TwitchCon. TwitchCon, unlike a lot of conventions, is not all conventions, but unlike a lot of conventions, it's less about going there to see the show floor, right? When I think TwitchCon misses the ball on a lot of the time is, well, doesn't miss the ball. I shouldn't say that. Because while TwitchCon is very much about the Twitch community and in streamers like myself going there to see in person the people that watch them every day. That's the reason I go to TwitchCon is to hang out and see the people that support me and that are the reason I do what I do, right? TwitchCon's probably the only con that I don't really meet with game publishers that much, but I do every now and then. Because, well, Twitch has to pay the bills, right? They have to pay their own bills, which is why they bring out publishers, which is why they bring out vendors and stuff like that. It's something they just have to do in order to fund the convention, right? But TwitchCon is very much about the community. And no matter what's happening, the community is the most important thing. I think where TwitchCon does miss the ball is, even though they have to have these vendors there, they tend to focus on that and less on giving the people that help fund their entire organization a way to, like, a first party way to meet with these people, right? There was an idea rolling around, I don't know where, I don't remember where I should say, where it's like, oh, what if we provided you with a area where you can write on a whiteboard that says, hey, this is the Danotage meetup, meet me here. And I was like, that's a great idea. But that was like 3 years ago. And I never saw that come to fruition. It's just a small idea. And it's something that very much could have changed the way, and I never saw it there. One thing they did do right is they scheduled office hours for Twitch staff, for streamers to go and talk to people that worked at Twitch, to get actual information there, to get information back, to get all these things happening. And that happened, and that did really, really well. That didn't happen the next year either. I don't know. So, once the floor plan comes out, take a look at that, figure out your floor plan, figure out what you want to do, and probably like focus on doing those. But TwitchCon is gonna be very much about the community, and if you're there for other reasons, great. But make sure that you're focused on figuring out what it is that you can do to help the people that help you do what you do, right? I know it's very vague and ominous, but the whole reason I go to TwitchCon ever, and I've been to every one, was because I just wanted to hang out with my viewers and my community. PAX is different, and I've never done that for PAX, because one, there's only so many people that go to PAX that watch me, but also because I'm going there to learn about the games that I'm going to be playing, because that's what it's for. I think for the most part, the spirit of TwitchCon has been there for a while, and I don't think that's gone away, but keeping that in mind is important. Do we have any more questions? Also, I love how much poop talk there is in chat. In other words, I don't love it. What is happening? Yeah. So did I answer that question? Hold on. What was the question, by the way? Oh, yeah. For Orlando? Yeah, conventions and stuff like that, sure. I think an important part of going to any convention as a professional is figuring out the spirit of the convention, the whole reason the convention exists in the first place. If you're going to Gen Con or to PAX Unplugged, you're more than likely, it's for board games and tabletops and stuff like that. So if you're going there and you start talking to other people about how they don't have the right things here for something that isn't those things, you are telling the people that you're talking to a very specific message, which is that you didn't pay attention to what the whole event was for. Granted, that comes off in many different ways. The lock disengaged in my chair. Okay, we're good. But that's just a side note. That's not like a huge note. That goes back to, like, be careful what you're saying in front of a lot of people that are in your industry. That's one thing that I think a lot of people, again, forget. They're like, because you can be out in public in your hometown and you could act like just an everyday normal person and nobody's gonna really bat an eye. And you can do what a lot of people are doing. But what I think a lot of streamers don't necessarily understand is, again, back to the word influencer, they are influencers, right? If Lyric's walking by and he says something that is extremely rude, I'm going to be like, oh, that's Lyric saying something extremely rude. I'm going to remember that because I know exactly who that is. And you would do that in any other circumstance. However, at a TwitchCon, that's going to happen a lot more often. You're going to recognize a lot more people because, well, you watch Twitch, and that's the whole reason you went to TwitchCon in the first place. Same thing with Comic-Con, too, right? When we talk about poop to further your brand, if that's what you want to do, hey, further your brand. Further your brand. Just be safe about it. Like I said, don't put it in anybody's eye. You know what I'm saying? Just don't put it in anybody's eye. That's how you get pink eye. I'm gonna flip through this. There's probably I know there's things about conventions in here. I forgot what we wrote. Yeah, but that's kind of the long and short of the general gist of TwitchCon and cons in general. There's lots of things you can get into as far as like, hey, make sure that you schedule the meetings that have a 5-minute period or a 15-minute period in between meetings, because if they run late, you don't want to be late to the next one. And you also have to make sure that you have time to actually travel, to walk and travel the floor with all these people, and possibly people stopping you, to go to the next one. Also, try to figure out where they are, because I can't tell you how many times I've gotten lost because especially E3 is very confusing in their floor plan. You sometimes don't really remember or know how to get to the next meeting. So make sure you figure that out beforehand, because you don't want to be late because you didn't do your homework, right? Most people will understand, but some people will keep that in mind. It's like, you didn't research? You didn't find out where we were? Oh, okay. Weird. Let's see. I read prepping in here. There's a section called prepping and planning, and thanks to Carly, I read it as pooping in my head. Just thought I'd point that out. There's a thing here. Hold on. Oh, found it. Definitely caught a big-time streamer bad-mouthing TwitchCon at TwitchCon. He's known for an abrasive streamer anyway, but still shocked. Sure. Sure. And normally, if they're being somewhat objective about things and they're talking, so you can criticize things, of course. But it's all about the way the way you say them, right? Because if you can say that, you can probably say the same exact stuff, but somebody might not see it as bad mouthing if you know, are positively upworking towards that, you know? It's about how you word things, right? Because yeah, you should be extremely critical of things, especially when they don't make you happy. But if you're outwardly negative and you start putting ideas in people's heads that they may have not been thinking before because of using toxic language or whatever that might be, then maybe that's a problem. But if you're being honest and actually being positive and thinking about it in a critical way, then, well, that shouldn't stop you. You should probably figure out what your goals are for a convention like TwitchCon. What are your goals? What do you want to do when you're there? Like, in general, and you should keep these pretty general, right? I know we talk about goals a lot, but, like, it's important. Generally, what are your goals? I want to be able to make a contact that I know that if I email them when I leave this, they will email me back. Okay, what does that take? What does that take? Well, that takes a face-to-face meeting, giving them information that they will definitely remember me on, and that doesn't mean, oh, I farted in your soup. You remember that. You might, I don't know. There are many people I've seen that work for, but there's also, like, you know, hey, I played your game. My favorite part was this, and I love the character. I love where you guys are coming from. Like, I want to be able to work further with you and stuff like that. Hey, do you think I can email you and we can have a little chat about something we can to in the future, and be as specific as you possibly can with that, and they might remember that, you know? They might remember that. And if you walk away thinking that they will remember if you send them an email, or at least be able to recollect once they have received that email, then maybe you've accomplished your goal. And because you set out that goal, that's the reason you went back and did that, right? Who knows? But maybe that's your goal. And but setting your goals is important when you go to a convention like this. If your goal is to hang out with your friends and just to be, you know, chillax and grab a couple beers with people that you haven't seen before, maybe you have to make a list of people you want to hang out with, so that you know I'm going to go hang out with these people. As long as you understand that they may be busy and they may not be able to hang out with you. But also, if you make that a goal, then hopefully you will know and not regret anything when you leave home, right? It's like, oh man, I regret not making an effort to go hang out with Hunter. In fact, I do have a regret of that. Hunter, I didn't really get to see that much last year's TwitchCon. I made that up by hanging out with him at GuardianCon, but I very much regretted not hanging out with Hunter when I saw him at TwitchCon last year. Didn't see him that much. He was busy, I was busy, but I could have made something happen, and I just forgot or got sidetracked, you know? But I very much wanted that to happen. You know, and maybe that's a goal you want to make. Hey, I want to meet new people. Okay, maybe you want to meet new people. Maybe you set a list of, I want to meet 5 new people. Obviously, don't limit yourself, but, you know, make that your goal to go after. We have in here, keep up the energy, which is, I think, what we talked about earlier. If you have to schedule that downtime, like, do it. Make sure that you do it because, and make sure you eat food and make sure you drink water. Which reminds me, I need to drink this water. Because legitimately, if you're not paying attention to that, it will haunt you. And you probably will get sick. The biggest thing, stay hydrated and eat food. Hopefully you won't get sick. Also, wash your hands. There's like several 7-Elevens downtown. Go in there and buy a bottle of hand sanitizer. Do something. Grab a bottle of water. Chug it. Do something. Stay healthy. Which I do not sound right now because it's freaking hot in here, man. But yeah, that's part of it. Because you don't want to burn out. And if it means that on the second day, you spent so much energy that you just have to maybe sleep in and get some more rest, do that. Do that. That way, because like each night is going to be long. You know it is. So spend some time with your friends at night and hang out in your hotel room or rest in the morning. Make it so it works for you. Make it so it works for you, always. Goes back to like making connections. It doesn't matter what those connections are. It doesn't. It doesn't matter if they're repeat connections, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if they're just friends that you haven't seen since the last convention. Maybe you went to PAX, and maybe you're seeing friends again that you just saw at PAX a month ago. Make that connection. Don't make a trip a waste, you know what I mean? Don't make the trip a waste. If you're a professional, try to strike a deal with somebody just to contact them afterwards, you know? Maybe, hey, I talked to the dead. In fact, there's a story right here. Talk to the Dead Cells guys real quick. I was like, I already knew them, right? I had met them a couple times before. I met them at PAX East like the year before that. This is a while ago. I met them and said, hey, I love your game, or I would love to play your game. How do I do so? And then, you know, and I emailed them afterwards. I was, at that point, I think I was a partner. I don't remember. And I didn't really receive anything back from them. I talked to them at PAX or TwitchCon, and then it was like, oh yeah, we got your email. So sorry, blah blah blah. How do we? Take this copy of PS4 Dead Cells to give away to your fans or whatever. So I just gave it away to my fans. They were like, but I made that reconnection, and I was polite about it. I was professional about it. They knew I played their game, and I just did the thing, you know? I made that connection again. 2 years it took. Or 1 year. 1 year it took. Made the connection again. The next time I saw them, we had spent 3 months of emailing each other back and forth talking about the game. This is a big part. All right, we're gonna bring this up. I actually just dawned on me to remember this. It lines up exactly with this topic, and I've talked about this before. But it's a big part of being a professional in this industry, where people trust and don't trust each other, and there's a lot of moving parts of something. There's a big part of how I got involved with GuardianCon too. You may not do any work with a company or an individual for several years. It's possible. It may not happen. You trying to make a genuine connection with that person or company is how solid work or ideas or collaborations or something will happen. This goes back to the, hey, do you think we can, follow, would you follow me if I followed you? Hey, do you want to sub to me if I sub to you? This is the reason it doesn't work, right? And it's the bigger idea behind all of this. Relationships take time, for one, and they are required, for the most part, not always, but for the most part, they are required for business and something to happen. There's something important that I learned from my manager, actually. Most big jobs and most things do not come to fruition until way later. I knew Professor Broman for 2 years before I started working with them on GuardianCon. Right? It's not because he didn't like me. It's not because I didn't like him. It's not because I didn't want to work with them. It's not because of anything, really. But I was able to show them my skills. I was able to gain their trust. They were able to gain my trust. They were able to show me what they wanted to do. Like, a lot of things just kind of happened over time, and we got to know each other a little bit more, right? There's some reason that, I mean, I'm not gonna say it, but there's a reason that Professor Broman needed something from me, and he only asked me because I showed him that I knew how to do it, and that only happened because something random happened that came out, and he knew how to connect it to me because he knew who I was. Like, it happened over years, right? Another example of something that takes time, and about everything really takes time. I just did a sponsored stream, sponsored by Team 17, right? Great company. I've loved them for years. I've been friends with their community, their influencer manager, for 3 years now, right? Has nothing to do with them not liking me not liking them. We just never did anything sponsored wise or professional wise or anything like that together in a big manner ever. Recently just did something because we knew each other, because we had a long developed relationship between each other, right? Omniwaffle in chat knows who I am because of things that have happened. I know who he is because things have happened. And those things don't happen in an instant. They don't happen in seconds. They happen in months and years. But it takes you wanting a genuine interaction with these people for it to happen in the first place. If you're being generic about something, if you don't really care about it, and you don't spend the time to understand the concepts behind what they do, understanding what they do professionally, and understanding who they are as professionals, nobody's going to want to work with anybody. You may not really actually want to work with them because you haven't found out everything you need to know about them. They may not want to work with you because they have no idea who you are. Even the most popular streamers in the world. They like, the companies only work with them because of their numbers. But that doesn't mean they're going to keep working with them, especially if they don't like the interaction that happens, right? It takes time. All these things take time in massage and in actual genuine interactions. It just happens over time. Sometimes it just feels random. You're like, oh, they wanted me to do a job with them? Oh, that's cool. Why? Well, because you've never done anything wrong to them and they've liked you for a long time. This is just the first opportunity to come up where you fit into it. It happens, this has been happening in Hollywood for decades. Decades. This actor knows this very high up producer for years. But they've never just had anything that fits them. Hey man, I really want to put you in something, but I don't have a role for you yet. Well, write a role for me. Well, that's not really how it works. Can't really just do that. I gotta get a writer, and the writer doesn't know you, so then all these things have to fall into place. Okay. I guess we're not gonna work together then. It's like, no, don't say that. Years later, they keep hanging out. They keep interacting with each other. They keep connecting. They see each other at award shows, whatever. Hey, I've been thinking about you. This situation I guarantee has happened millions of times. Hey, I was thinking about you. Yeah. There was this role that came up and I said, you know who'd be good for this? Actor name. Somebody not that big though. Adam Driver. Adam Driver would be huge for this. It'd be great. He's pretty big, but he's not like Tom Cruise. So, it'd be great for this. Why do I know that? Because I've known him for years. That is exactly what's going to happen after relationships have developed. It may take 2 to 3 years, it may even take 4 years. But making genuine relationships with people is how things are going to happen, right? I wouldn't be on this channel right now if I didn't actually get to know Loco and Hunter. For 2 reasons. They wouldn't want to put me on here because they couldn't trust me with the channel. I wouldn't want to be on here because I don't know what the hell they put out. Right? What kind of information they put out, what kind of education they come out and stuff like that. It's the same thing, but since I've known them for a while, since they've known me for a while, I know the answers to those questions. They know the answers to those questions. It's just kind of how it goes. Right? When you just throw things into the mix, you have no idea what's going to come out. But sometimes you can guess, you know what I mean? What's up, Solistus? How are you? Okay, sorry. There's another question up top. Wait, is it part of the ask queue? Yes. Wait, no questions. No, it was an Acheron Sticks question, right? Can you repost that question? Oh, how do we deal with FOMO? I feel like it makes sleep impossible. It's a really good question. It's a really, really good question. It's something that you're not going to like this answer, but I will give you an answer that you may like. I just have to come up with that second part. My answer to FOMO is don't care about getting everything. You know why? Because you're not going to. You have to accept you're not going to see everything. I promise you this from somebody who has dealt with FOMO so much. Every convention in the last 7 years, not including the last 2 years, have I dealt with hardcore FOMO. Hardcore FOMO, which is the fear of missing out, right? You know why? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It may seem like it matters to you at the moment, But it doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter? Because it's not worth the stress. Because you will eventually get to see the thing at some point in time in your life, as long as you keep going to conventions, or as long as you hang around the people that you want to hang around, or as long as you go to a panel that they're on, or you contact them, or you are, you know, you may not be able two places at once, but you pick the one that you like more. The big reason I say don't care about it as much as you think you might need to is because no matter what's going on, you will not enjoy the thing that you are not missing out on, right? I'm at this panel, but I could be at this panel, but I really wanted to be at this one more, which is why I'm here, right? So what's your answer? You care about the one you're at. You have to. You have to care about the thing you went to. Because if you don't, if you spend all your time thinking about the thing you didn't go to, then the thing you went to doesn't freaking matter. It doesn't matter anymore because you're just spending all your energy thinking about the other thing. Enjoy, live in the moment. Enjoy the present. Yes, be mindful and present. Enjoy what's going on in front of you, right? I'm telling you right now, I will be sitting in one location. Not the whole time, but I will make sure I put out a piece of information that says I will be here. I will be at the Blind Burrow, because I will be at the Blind Burrow, because the Blind Burrow is awesome and it's right next to Petco Park. I will be at the Blind Burrow from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. 3 hours. I will not be moving. I will be getting a table. I'll be drinking tequila, and I will be having tacos for 3 hours. Whatever happens, I'm going to enjoy that. If nobody shows up, I'm going to enjoy my tequila and tacos. If a ton of people show up, I'm going to freaking enjoy those people right there. Right? Because if I'm enjoying that, and then I hear from a tweet, oh, there's a big party happening down the street that just happened, just popped up. Nobody could have planned for it. Who cares? I'm having fun right here. I am living in this moment. I'm enjoying this moment. If you don't do that, you will... FOMO will just... It'll just eat you. It'll just eat your soul. It will eat everything you have. FOMO is a demon. And you can't get it off your back unless you don't care about it. You made it to TwitchCon. Enjoy everything that you get into. And do not go too crazy. This is why when somebody says, hey, I'm going to TwitchCon, it's my first con ever, and everybody starts bombarding them with things to do, I'm like, cool it! Cool it! One thing at a time. Okay? One thing at a time. Same thing goes with FOMO. You won't get FOMO if you take one thing at a time. Oh, there's a meeting, there's a meetup happening? I'm gonna go to that. Yeah, I'll be there. Hanging out for a little bit. It's awesome. This is fun. This is cool. I'm enjoying this. Okay. All right. This is done. What am I doing next? Oh, that's right. There's another thing happening. Let's go to that. Let's go have fun there. Enjoy it. Enjoy the present. Because FOMO will eat you. It will eat you up and spit you out. I promise you from firsthand experience is exactly what it will do. Enjoy what's going on with you. I've spent hours with one person because I was enjoying their company. Nothing else mattered. And I absolutely don't regret spending hours with one person. Because I enjoyed that time that I had with that person. Okay. Would the same thing about FOMO apply to choosing from everything you want to do in life and what you enjoy the most you want to do? Yeah. Yeah, kind of. You're talking about a much longer term here. Like, when we're talking about FOMO, we're usually, especially in a convention context, we're talking about 4 days worth of stuff, right? But in your life, I mean, yeah, take things one thing at a time, right? I mean, I know somebody personally who has been dealing with this themselves. Like, oh, but I want to do this in my life. Okay. So what's the first step? Don't worry about the next few steps yet. Just focus on the first step. What's the first thing you gotta do? Okay? You wanna be an actor? What do you gotta do? Oh, I need to, make voice reels. Okay. Don't worry about anything else. Research the best way to make a voice reel. Research how to make sure you get your voice the best it possibly can. Focus on that. Do that. Then we'll worry about the next step. Okay? That's how it goes. You want to do something in life? Focus on one thing at a time. You want to be a famous streamer? You got to focus on how to stream first. Right? You got to focus on how do I make OBS work exactly the way I want it to. It may take months of preparation, but you don't want to sit there and be juggling 10 million different things and then just call it quits because it's too much. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. Focus on one thing at a time. Always. So yes, in a way, it kind of does go the same way. That makes sense. Enjoying people tacos? Yes. Okay, we have time for like one more question if somebody's got a question. Perfect. When choosing which panels to attend, do you put more stock in the topic, the speakers, or a combination of both? I'd say it's probably a combination of both. It's about the amount of certainty, right, that you can have. It's about minimizing or maximizing certainty. This is a term we use in communication science all the time. Maximizing certainty, right? Maximizing the amount of certainty that you have over something. So, if you're gonna choose a panel just for the topic, well, it could be streamers that you may not know but may eventually like by going to their panel. That's possible. It's the same possibility that you're gonna watch something that absolutely makes no gosh darn sense to you. You may go into something that says, "Hey, this is crap. This is a waste of my time." You go to watch something that is with a bunch of streamers that you like, but the topic is really not something you enjoy. Same thing. Oh man, I really like these streamers, but what they're talking about, not them, they're not boring, but what they're talking about, I really don't care. Or I already know all this information. I'm just listening to it again. I can go listen to the Danotage podcast in my car. I can already listen to all this information. But if you go to something that is a topic you enjoy and from panelists that you also enjoy, your certainty goes up dramatically. I'm going to be interested in what they're talking about, and I already know I like them. It goes up dramatically. Now, keep in mind, that does not mean don't do the other two things on both sides of the spectrum. Absolutely does not mean that. Signs in a self-plug. There's no such thing as a Danotage podcast. There's no plug there. Not yet, at least. Maybe in the future. That doesn't mean don't do the other things, right? Let's say you're really interested in a topic, and it may be streamers you don't enjoy. Well, it's a gamble you're gonna have to take, or that you're gonna want to take, right? Especially if there's no other panels going on, and you may want to just, you may need to kill some time anyway. Maybe you really want to listen to that topic and see what other people have. Maybe they're crap at the topic. Maybe that's information that you need too. They are absolutely crap at talking about this topic. But now I know what I know. And now I know that I may not be the only person who doesn't know this topic. Right? Maybe they have no idea what the hell they're doing up there. They just thought it was a good idea. But you learned something from that. Or maybe you go to a panel where the topic is just taxes. Ew. Taxes? I don't want to go to a panel that talks about taxes. But I really love Chickenators and Warbnull. I guess I'll give it a shot. I mean, I like them. Maybe I'll go show support. And you're listening to them. They're having a bunch of fun. They're making jokes. They're dropping number jokes like they're math geniuses and stuff. Maybe they're just going ham and saying, yo, this is what I think about taxes, son. And they throw like a big cake on the ground. You know? And then all of a sudden, they say something about taxes that you didn't know that you think is a really good piece of information. Also, a reason to go to that. You know what I think about your taxes, son? Taxes are for responsible citizens. Also, I need that book. It's fine. You know, it happens. Whatever you gotta do. So, like I said, those other two things on the both sides of the spectrum. If that's really what you want to do, like, please do that, because you never know what might happen. It's a roll of the dice, and sometimes you roll nat 20s, sometimes you roll a natural 1, and sometimes you get killed by a dragon because you jumped in his mouth as he was breathing the fire. Sometimes that's just what happens, but that's a chance that you have to take, because it doesn't actually affect your life, right? Going to a panel, choosing one panel or another, probably not going to affect whether or not you actually lose your life. So it's really not that big of a dice roll. It's just a little one. If you miss, oh well, you lost an hour. Oops, whatever, not a big deal, right? Especially if you didn't have anything else going on. So my advice is go to the thing that meets both criteria kind of similarly, or at least something that you think fits right in the middle, but don't be afraid to do the others as well. You know what I mean? Drop the mic, son! Breaking balls off in your butt! Is that good, Acheron? Good answer? The good thing about TwitchCon is that all the panels are VODs for maximum reviewage. You miss anything? Yeah, I usually don't go attend panels unless I really want to support somebody. Because yeah, I always watch them later. Hi, Derek Smits. Okay, that one only took 5 minutes. Do we have another quick question? Because we got about, I would say, maximum of 10 minutes left in the show. But we have one other quick question. I may be able to answer it. I just went wild with the last one, just because I thought it was funny. Where to eat? Honestly, go to the Blind Burrow. Not only for drinks, but for food. The Blind Burrow is probably my favorite place downtown. That and the sushi restaurant that I met Simcopter at, which was Sushi House on Market Street. Also very good. Also very good. What's your favorite flavor of vitamin C? Orange, I guess? Is that a flavor of vitamin? Do vitamins have flavors? I like orange. I have orange flavored tablets that I have. I usually take right after a workout. So for those who don't know, the reason your muscles get bigger is because you're actually tearing them. You're actually developing micro tears in your muscles, and then they're healing back tissue over the top of them. So the best way to speed that up and have them actually be healthy is to pop some vitamin C right after your workout. Spicy V8? Spicy V8, it's okay. I don't know. I like the juice, the fusion V8s. Well, good thing I don't have muscles then. That sounds like bad news. Yeah, also, yeah, just don't work out, guys. That's my advice I'm going to leave you with that. Don't work out, because then you hurt your wrist and you have to tape it up so that you don't overstrain it. Just don't work out. Just don't do it. I work out 5 times a week for like 2 to 3 hours a day. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Not the lady! I didn't hurt my fingers. I hurt my wrist. God damn it. Damn it. Just like a completely sedentary life. Hey, yeah. Safer that way. Safer that way. No, really? No. No. Make sure you do something to get the heart pumping at least once a day. I get my heart pumping at least once a day. Either it's 5 days at the gym or it's a long walk with the pup. Once a day. Once a day! Once a day. And I'm not joking about that. Once a freaking day. Get the heart pumping. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be heart pumping hard. You don't have to be like sweating and like feeling all your arteries in your body like swell up with your heart throbbing. Just do something to get the blood flowing through the body. Yeah, it's all just once a day. That's not much. Not much. Do like 10 push-ups. That's enough. Honestly, 10 push-ups, get the heart pumping. If that's all you're gonna do today, honestly, it's not terrible. So like WoW Classic dungeoning. If I'm your tank, yeah, I'll get your heart pumping, that's for sure. Cause yeah. I'm not geared. I'm level 16 and I'm just not geared. I can only push down. I had about a 3-hour conversation debating the word push-up and the word press-up, because the press-up is what the British call push-ups. And I had a 3-hour conversation on a stream once about the semantics of that phrase. It was a great conversation. But yeah, that was good. Are you the versed? Rot. Alright guys, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here. So this has been Dan's Stream of Thought with your boy, Mr. Danotage, Danotage, on all platforms. Every single platform. Every single platform. Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Mixer. Although I'm not active on it, I have everywhere. Pokemon Masters, Epic 7, Steam, everything. DANOTAGE. You can also find my book in that link that Wes just brought out. Use that Amazon link, buy this book. Twitch, creating, growing, and monetizing your live stream. Hopefully it helps out. I'm working on my second book this time. It may not come out for a while, but that's because I want to make it right, and I want to make sure I can figure out kind of where the industry's heading before I fully publish something again. But get in there, check it out. If you have any questions, like absolutely any questions, Discord, discord.gg/streamersquare. There's a channel called Dan's Stream of Thought. Ask the questions! Because no matter what, if I don't answer it in Discord, I will answer it on the show. And you will have your answer read live and recorded for both Twitch VODs, well, not both, all Twitch VODs, YouTube, I believe it's youtube.com/streamersquare, if I'm correct. Please put that in the chat if that's right. Or you can go to any podcasting venue and you can listen to the audio version. Any of them, all of them. There it is. youtube.com/streamersquare. Get them in there. Get them in there. All of them. Every single one. Ask them, because if you don't ask them, they don't get answered. If you do not ask them, they don't get answered. Do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Do it. What was the pod command? I don't know. Is it Dan Anchor? Is it SOT Anchor? Yep, it's that one. I've been Danotage. Please stay positive, play more games, and read more comics. And I will see you all next week on Dan's Stream of Thought right here on twitch.tv/streamersquare. Have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy yourselves. I'll be live tonight at around 7 or 8 p.m. So in about 3 or 4 hours Pacific time. Okay? I love you guys. Thank you for being my students. Thank you for being my lovely friends, and thank you for participating in my experiment on how I can talk about things and people will listen. Apparently. It's not like meant to be an experiment, it's just in my head that's how it works. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time, okay? Enjoy yourselves. Later, guys. Bye. I love ya. See you one.